Greetings everyone, my name is Bobolog and thank you for joining me here for another episode of Bobolog. As you can see, I am outside today. I hope the audio isn't too terrible, but it's such a beautiful, warm, lovely, sunny day that I just wanted to be outside because it's so lovely. I am not in the sun because I think it would get a bit too warm and bright probably for you guys, so I am in the shade of a lovely tree and here we are. In this episode I am mostly going to be sharing my progress knitting the Dione pullover pattern by Natasja Hornby. I am knitting this for the Yarniacs Colors of Fall knit along, and it is a sweater that is almost but not quite size inclusive. It just falls short of hitting the largest size, unfortunately, and as I have discussed in a previous episode, I am making quite a few modifications to it, and I am also knitting it in Tandy 8-ply yarn, one of which is hand dyed and one of which is one of their natural, I think, colorways. Yeah, and I do share some other bits of crafting as well, but it is mostly going to be about that sweater. But I just wanted to mention, I also have my spinning here with me. This is for the third single of the spin that I started for the Tour de Fleece 2024. I did obviously not finish spinning it during the Tour de Fleece. In fact, I had to finish the second single after the Tour de Fleece, and yesterday was the beginning of the Tour de Force Femme, and I had originally hoped or planned to finish the whole thing by the end of the Tour de Femme, but I really don't think that's gonna happen. There's just too much life going on, which is a wonderful thing, but sorry about that helicopter noise up in the air. Yeah, there is no way I'm going to have this yarn completely done in the next week, but hopefully I will at least finish the third single, and then I'll just ply it whenever I want to ply it and share it with you then. But I have this here with me right now because after I finish filming this, I am planning to do some more filming of this particular spin, which I will be sharing on my playlist Platypus Spinning eventually. If you're new to my channel, you won't have all of the details for this spin, so I will just quickly share that I am spinning it on a Jalgan, which I got from Lair of the Bearded Dragon. I am spinning it on Eggshell Bunny Fibre. It is the Shetland Dream Fibre, which is a blend of Shetland wool, cashmere and mulberry silk. And I'm doing a fractal spin, and I have it right now on a really long broom handle. For the first single, I spun it using a Niddy Noddy as a belt distaff. For the second spin, I had it on a shorter broom, which I could only use while sitting down, and I missed being able to stand up and spin. So for this last single, I have it on a longer broom handle so I can use it while sitting or while standing. But that's enough about that. Let's just get into the episode. I am still in the process of doing increases before I can separate the sleeves, but I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, I just realized that this little channel here connecting the upper yoke and the lower yoke has given me a spot to tuck in some of my ends that were getting in my way, so that's handy. But mainly, check this out. All right, beginning of round, beginning of cable, helical knitting, end of cable. I think these are cables for the back. Yeah, so beginning of back cable, beginning end of end of back cable. What is this? This one is sleeve, I think. Sleeve cable, end of sleeve cable, end of sleeve, beginning of front cable, helical markers, end of cable, beginning of second sleeve cable, end of second sleeve cable. I have never worked with this many stitch markers before, and it is a little bit maddening but completely necessary. So let's see, how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 markers, and I currently have 356 stitches, and I still need to increase by another 46, I think. 46 more stitches before I can separate. Each row is probably taking me like half an hour to do. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Welcome to the floor of my craft room. I have finished doing all of the increases for the whatchamacallit. Let's say that another way. I am up to the stage where I need to separate for the sleeves, separate the sleeves and the body. So I am going to do another fitting, and I thought that this would be a good opportunity to check in with you because it has been a while. I have this tin here which used to contain a candle. It was part of the 1121 Windmills advent a couple of years ago, and I just have the various many bits and pieces for my extension interchangeable needles. So I do have keeper cords or try it on, what do you call them? You know, those things where you just like attach them to the end of the needles and you pull them through and they're really flexible. Barber cords. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I actually have found, excuse the noise, that with this this many stitches on my needles, which is about gosh, how many is it? It's a lot. Over 400, just over 400 stitches. I find it easier to just keep it on the cables for my interchangeable needles. It's easier to get it back on to needles or keep it on the needles after than it has been for using those other cords. So for this, I have just chucked in or added on an extension piece, and then I have put on another really long cable, and I'm just going to be pulling that through. But I also wanted to sort of do a little bit of a life update and have like a chat with you. This morning I did a class at my local rec center for this month of August. They are doing a few select Sunday classes for free to try out, and one of the classes is called Shabam, which is some kind of dancing, and I used to dance when I was little, and it's something that I really enjoy and have not done much as an adult, but have been wanting to get into. So I thought that would be a good opportunity to give it a go again and see if I liked it. And I really did enjoy doing it. So I am going to keep doing the free sessions for the rest of the month. And then I probably will get myself a membership to the recreation center again, so that I can continue doing classes. They do also have a Zumba class that I would like to do, and various other classes for all sorts of different things, yoga, Pilates, all sorts of like fitness and strength training and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so here we go. Let's hope this is at the right length. It is a bit awkward with everything that's attached to me, but one thing that I like is if I can grab onto the ends. That does help me. Where's the other end? Everything is tangled. It does help me sort of like pull things. So you can see that tightening around my arm there, hopefully, but it does let me pull things tight so I can see. See, this is all loose at the moment. Let's see if I can yank on something. See? There you go. That's nice now. It does keep flaring out, but that's okay. I can get a sense. So right now I'm just seeing if this is low enough or at the right depth for my armholes. Pull this one. Yeah, I think that looks right. I am kneeling down, so that makes it awkward. I can't really see the back, but I could probably actually show you the back. Can you see that? When I was originally planning out all of the mods for this sweater, I thought that I would have to shorten the yoke depth, but I was thinking about like a neckline and not the armhole depth. So I'm glad that I realized my error before I actually went and did it, because I would have had to rip out a whole bunch and undo it. And there is actually a chance that this might not even be deep enough, but I think it will be okay. I will get back onto just the one needle. I have had quite a few issues with this so far. Nothing like too catastrophic, but you know, as I have been working along, I've had a couple of instances of miscrossed cables that I've just had to ladder down a little bit and cross them, rework them, crossing the right way. There was one point where I had lost a stitch somewhere and I couldn't figure out how many rows down it had actually disappeared, or I couldn't see where the dropped stitch was, so I actually just did a like sneaky little increase in a cable row, and I don't think it's very noticeable. What else has gone wrong? Oh, the other night I was driving myself a little bit mad because I had counted the wrong number of stitches, and really I should be working on a longer cable to make this easier for myself and easier to see the stitches, but I am lazy. I am just being lazy, and I was having so much trouble counting the stitches, so I was counting nearly 400 stitches about like half a dozen times at least, and that was not fun, I can tell you. But I got there in the end, and it just turned out, I think that I had missed one increase, but that was pretty easy to fix up. But I'm glad that after every increase row, I do actually try to like count all of my stitches so that I am catching those kind of mistakes pretty quickly, and I'm able to fix them before I get too far past the mistake. So yeah, that is that. Another thing that I've been doing recently that I sort of just wanted to mention is I recently discovered another YouTube channel called Katherine Sewing, and I kind of want to try out some of her hair care advice. My hair's really messy right now because I worked out this morning, but I've decided that I'm done with short hair for a while. I was looking back through some old photos, and I felt like older photos of myself with longer hair, they felt more like me, like more true to who I am somehow. And while I think that I really like how the short hair has looked on me most of the time, it hasn't felt like me, if that makes sense. And if you get what I'm talking about when I say that. But yeah, she has a lot of really interesting advice for like looking after your hair, not just for the health of your hair, but for like growing your hair, which I thought was really interesting. And she doesn't use a lot of products. She actually washes her hair about once a month, and she does a lot of like more natural or historical methods, which were more natural, of looking after your hair. So I really want to try those, and that really isn't relevant to like anything to do knitting wise, but I'm going to be growing my hair. We'll see how that goes. Time to separate. I do wash my hair like every second day because I feel like my hair does get really oily, but my ends are dry, I feel like. And there have been many times where I have tried to train my hair to not need washing every second day, but I just feel like it looks so greasy on the last day, on the third day, that I just always end up giving up and washing it.
And one of the methods that she advises is just combing through your hair gently. She goes into more detail about like how to comb it properly in one of her videos, but yeah, just combing your hair with a wooden comb, because a natural material like that, instead of plastic, is going to help actually work the oils through. So hopefully, you know, distribute the oil from the roots through to the ends, so that you don't have that problem where it's oilier in one section and not as oily in another section. So I did buy a wooden comb yesterday. I got the one that I got from Muji just because that was the most affordable one that I could find online, and I didn't want to spend a lot when I don't know if I'm going to like these methods or if they're even going to work for me. So yeah, so today actually I might try that, although my hair isn't looking as greasy as I was expecting it to after having done a fitness class this morning. But because I did sweat and stuff, I don't want to wash it, but I do want to give it sort of like a clean, not really a clean. What I'm going to do is I have a little spray bottle, or I bought a spray bottle from Muji again when I bought the comb, and I am planning to let's say that again. I have made a solution of diluted apple cider vinegar to sort of the ratio that Katherine Sewing has recommended on her blog, her video and her blog. And I'm going to try spraying that onto my scalp, into the roots, letting it sit for a bit, and then combing through, and what am I doing here? And seeing how that sort of works to give kind of like a light clean to my scalp without actually going and, you know, wetting my hair and shampooing it and all of that. So yeah, I will be giving that a go tonight when I wind up, when I finish up my day, and we'll see how that goes. Oh yes, I have just been reminded, actually, I wanted to mention one tricky thing about working helical knitting with cables is that sometimes, because for certain small bits you're slipping like a few stitches at a time and not actually working them, you get instances like this. I'm not sure if you can really tell, but there is a bit there that is very visible to me, where, because the rest round in this instance wasn't actually worked and the stitches were just slipped, and then the next round that was actually, the next set of stitches that were actually worked was a cable. You get cables sitting on top of each other, and that has sort of happened in a spiral going around, just because that is how helical knitting works. But I don't actually think it's really noticeable most of the time. For some reason, this bit here, I feel like is a lot more noticeable than it is in other sections. Like when I look at the rest of it, I feel like I'm not exactly sure where all of that slipping has occurred. Anyway, just wanted to mention that. Oopsies. Dropping stitches. Let's not do that, shall we? But yeah, that has been a challenge of this pattern, but you know, I think it's all right. I think it's worked out not too badly. I have also realized when I sat down to start knitting this separation row and you know, gathered everything around me that I need, I have realized that one of the keeper cords, try it on cords, whatever you call it, that I have 3. So I bought a set. And one is a longer one for trying things on like body circumferences, and then there were 2 shorter ones that you can use for things like sleeves. In my tin here, I actually only have one of the sleeve ones because I had forgotten that the other one, the other sleeve one, I have attached to the Poca Poca hat. So the Poca Poca hat is nope, this isn't right. What am I doing? Give me one sec. I missed a stitch. So the Poca Poca hat starts with a provisional cast on. So I have that other keeper cord just holding those the other side of those cast on stitches, which are sort of live stitches, they're not bound off stitches. So I have it there and I don't really want to have to remove it as yet. So for this, to separate the sleeves, I'm going to have to put one sleeve on the keeper cord and the other one I will just put on another cable needle, another interchangeable cable, and that'll be fine. That shouldn't really cause any issues at all. That's what I always used to use before I had keeper cords. Yeah, so that's what I'm planning to do there. Yeah, it takes me so long to work a row because of how many stitches there are, like I said before. Also, I don't know if you can hear all of that background noise. I don't know what it is. Our neighbors can be very noisy. They're car enthusiasts, so at least it's something, it kind of sounds like vacuuming, but at least it's something light like that and not them constantly revving the engine and shouting, which we do get a lot, and I don't think I would be talking if that were going on. I would just knit and not use any audio from this clip. Right. All right, so this marker goes. I have a tin that I should put that in, but I don't know where I've put it. Okay, I'm just gonna chuck that on for safekeeping. And carefully. I've just realized something else that is going to be tricky because, well, actually, it might actually be all right. I was just going to say, because I am working helically, the spots where I switch yarns have actually fallen on the sleeves, and I am putting the sleeves, oops, hang on. that has come off. I have to be quite careful. Okay, all good. Didn't lose any stitches. Yeah, so here are my helical markers here, and they are on the sleeve, which is now going onto keeper cords. So the yarn, it's just a bit fiddly. The yarn here that is attached to that sleeve obviously is now, I'm going to keep it on that sleeve and use it to keep working the sleeve later. So for this round I am just going to be using the one ball, I guess, and I will possibly, if I want to keep those two balls that have the ends sitting on the sleeves, for the sleeves, if I want to keep those for the sleeves, I'm going to have to wind up some more yarn to keep helically knitting the body, which is fine. I actually have 2 skeins left, so when I have finished this separation round, I will just get out my yarn swift and wind that up. So that I can keep going, and I'm sure it's going to get very messy. I'm not sure how I'm going to manage those 2 balls that will be attached to a sleeve, but I will have to figure that out. Alright, we're nearly there. I don't know how much of this you can actually see. This isn't the most exciting video portion, I'm sure. Come on, stitches, you can do it. Alright, that, and then there's my cable. Let's ditch that cable. Let's pull this into there. Let's pull this through a little bit. Yeah, alright. That smells so good. It still smells like the candle. I wish you could smell it. It's so nice. There's one other modification that I'm not sure if I had already mentioned, but I did do an extra couple of rounds of sleeve only increases, because because the size that I am making has a smaller bicep circumference, upper arm circumference than what I need for my arms. So I did work a few extra increases so that when I go to do the sleeves, I am starting with the number from one size up, and that should give me the right sleeve fit. I think this is working. I am a tiny bit concerned that the armhole may actually be a little tight, but I think it'll be okay, really. just to follow up briefly on what I mentioned about washing my sweaty hair with apple cider vinegar, I realized that I was misremembering the advice from the Katherine Sewing YouTube channel. Apple cider vinegar is only meant to be used for like detangling or rinsing and not as a wash. So yeah, suffice it to say that that didn't really work for me in the way that I had intended. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I'm sure that no one is following my advice about hair. And if anyone is curious, I hope you go check out Katherine Sewing. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on that. I bought some sewing things from Sarah Taylor, whose shop is the Maker's Corner up in Queensland, and she sent me this adorable teaspoon. I haven't seen one like it. It's so pretty and so good, and the latch on it, it's got this, you just pop that open there and pop in your tea leaves, which I do prefer to tea bags, so it's so perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And I also wanted to share this handy little contraption that my crafty aunt made for me. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. It's a thread keeper. So it opens up into that little basket tube thing to like pop in all your thread ends and stuff. So I think I'm going to keep that with my cross stitch project, which I have been doing a little bit on, but it's probably not worth showing to you yet. Feeling so lucky right now. I have this partially on a keeper cord because I couldn't be bothered taking the whole thing off my interchangeable needles. Let's see how that goes. So many things attached. I also can't remember if I have mentioned this, but I have now started the waist shaping, and I am mostly doing all of the waist shaping only on the back of the sweater. Again, this is advice based on advice that I've gotten from doing the Knit to Flatter course. But yeah, I'm mainly doing the waist shaping on the back of, on the back and not the front, because I think that will better suit my body. However, I think I would have liked to do all of the waist shaping on the back, but then that would have meant that when I did the hip increases, that there would have been fewer stitches on the back than the front, and I do actually still want the hip to be even front and back. So I am doing like 3/4 of the waist shaping on the back and 3/4, 1/4 on the front, and then when I do the hip increases, they will all be on the back, and hopefully that will work for me. Now, what have I done? Everything is a bit precarious. Okay, that's feeling quite comfortable. Armhole there. I feel like that could probably be a little bit bigger, but it's still comfortable. see how and if how that changes when it has proper sleeves. Alright, so I'm not up to the waist shaping yet, but can I tighten this just a little bit? Pull on that. There we go. Yeah, good. So I shouldn't be up to the waist shaping yet, and I'm not. Excellent. My natural waist is about here. So somewhere around here. Guess we'll find out. I'm not going to change things now. Which way can I turn?
I did also just want to briefly share this new book that I purchased within the last week called The Manly Art of Knitting. It is a reprint of a book that was originally published in the 70s, and I just thought it was a lot of fun. It is a book that is out at the moment in the lead up to Father's Day here in Australia, and let me read you the back cover. You don't need to be a man to appreciate knitting a hammock with shovel handles for needles and manila rope for yarn, or a horse blanket that can double as a throw rug. This amusing practical guide includes basic knitting tips, pattern stitches, and notes on common problems and how to solve them, as well as 6 simple projects including a sweater vest, a dog blanket, and more. The Manly Art of Knitting was originally published in 1972, but has been out of print for decades. It was initially published with the hope that it would encourage men to take up knitting, as well as be embraced by veterans of the craft. So just a super quick flick through here, it has some illustrations on how to do some basic stitches, and then it does have a few different basic patterns, like I said, and the most amusing pattern I think that's in here is a saddle cloth for your horse. So I don't know that I'll ever make any of this. Maybe the rope hammock would be cool to do one day, but I just thought that was a really fun book to have in my library. I'm gonna wait for some people to pass because I'm shy. I do want to finish off this episode with my usual Heartful of Craft segment, even if I do away with all of the other segments that I have. So last week I caught up with a friend. She's a work colleague of mine, and she was really excited to learn that I am crafty because she said she doesn't have any other crafty friends, and she has always been wanting to get together with me to have a little crafting session. She knows the basics of knitting. She hasn't knit in a really long time. At the moment she's been working on really simple embroidery projects, so embroidering messages onto hankies for her wedding. And so I mean I've caught up with her outside of work before. We're friends. I don't know if she watches me here, but if she does, hey Bella. Yeah, so we caught up last week at a cafe. We had some brunch and then we just hung around after that and did some embroidery together. So she was doing her hankies, I was doing the cross stitch that you would have seen me working on, which has taken me over 10 years to do and is still going. But the table beside us, for a while there were a group of ladies there and they noticed what we were doing, and they mentioned, or at least one of them mentioned, that she was part of an embroidery guild, and she said that some of the ladies there have complained about difficulties with their eyesight. And I had lent my friend, you may be aware of those things, you know, there's a strap that goes around your neck and it holds a magnifying glass there, so that you have your magnifying glass and then you can hold the work behind it to help you see, you know, tiny stitches better. My friend really enjoyed using it. She said it was helping her produce smaller stitches than she could have done without it, and her stitches were so tiny and it just looked amazing. Anyway, the lady came over and asked if she could take a photo of my friend using that magnifying thing because she thought it might help some of the ladies in her embroidery guild. And I told her that although I got mine in an op shop, that I have seen them in places like Spotlight, so they should be, you know, easy to find if, you know, the women that she embroiders with were interested in getting that project. And then another one pulled out her phone and was showing us a embroidered blanket that her mother had been working on forever and ever and still wasn't finished. It was like embroidery to create like a lacy edging effect. I don't know if there's a name for that, and I wasn't going to ask her if she could send me the photo because that would have been weird. But she said that her mother had started it when she got married and she was now in her 90s, I believe. So it was an ongoing project. I think she brought that one out because I had mentioned that I'd been working on my cross stitch for over 10 years. So she was like, oh, don't feel bad. These things take time. Look at this thing that my mother has been making for decades and decades. Anyway, it just made me so happy to be out and about crafting and then being recognized as a crafter and appreciated as a crafter. So my heart full of craft was just for that whole experience. It was so lovely to be hanging out with my friend as we were, you know, doing these creative embroidery things together. Just enjoying each other's company, working together, looking at each other's projects and commenting and just sharing the experience, and then also to have other people join in the conversation for a little bit and sort of appreciate what we were doing. It was just really nice, and that is what I wanted to leave you with on this episode. I hope that you have enjoyed everything that I have put together. I hope it hasn't been too much of a mess, and you've enjoyed this format. I think I am going to keep trying to do it in the future. So I guess when I feel like I have enough footage again, I'll be putting together another video for you. I'll see you then. Fare thee well.